Welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in loud and sunny Santa Cruz, California.
Why?
Emma, you are the biggest pain in the ass, but I am so glad you're back. Because you do make things more exciting and fun.
Makes it spicy.
It's only because clothing is always optional.
Life is easier without you, but it is more fun with you.
Oh, that is horse shite, and you know it. You miss every moment I'm away.
Hey, everybody, this is Liza.
No, it's not.
We had another great day in the garage.
No, we didn't.
Today.
It was yesterday.
I just set her off.
I had a great day in the garage because I was in my own garage today.
No.
Yes.
You are the king. You are king of chain and sprockets.
Well,
I can tell by the new dent in my forehead.
I tell you what.
That's what happened.
We're
Blood on the Shop Floor, name of my new punk album. Yep.
Since we're doing things different on this show, aside from the loud candy that Emma's digging into, we're going to start backwards. Who is with us here tonight? Everyone's favorite ginger, it's Bagel.
Hey, from the very moist Northwest.
Moist.
That's a bad word.
Yes, it is.
Moist.
And over by the window, it's Naked Jim with the dent in his head.
Yes. Yeah. We're missing a little flesh. What it is, what it was, what it shall be.
What part of the bike whacked
Amen.
you in the head?
Can you dig it? The license plate.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, the ground up and with like shards of sharp metal. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, going around the room, joining us for a second week in a row, almost making it official.
Almost.
It's Scottie.
Running on 1 out of 2 cylinders.
Yes, you
It's better than none.
And some gummy tacos.
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. Running the board tonight, looking dapper as a traffic cone. It's Stumpy John.
Yes, I'm a new doodle dad.
Yes, you are.
I did.
I got it.
Congratulations, Doodle Dandy.
Yes.
Did you understand that, Emma?
Oh, yes.
Yes, she did.
I've seen photographic evidence.
I adopted a new baby.
Yes.
Baby.
Well, and speaking of new babies, driving up in her new baby,
Yeah.
it's Miss Emma.
Signores, tonight I'm wearing a leopard print underpant and a one blue sock.
Wow.
See,
Thank you.
Well, you drove up in an American car. Why did you adopt
I
an
don't know.
Italian accent?
I drove up in my new baby, Thunderbird.
Also, you've always claimed you can't do accents. From now on, you are reading the Italian emails.
Ciao bella.
So I said we're doing
Who are
things.
you?
I said that at the top.
Oh, you did?
No, you didn't.
I don't think you did. You
I
did not.
did. Yes, in fact, you negated it then too, Emma.
No, I didn't.
It's Unky Liza.
So I said we're doing things different, and we are in that our main topic tonight isn't about motorcycles.
Womp womp.
Oh,
What?
Let's go wah, wah, wah.
And, but we will get to that. But before that, I just wanted to get into some little updates. One update. Oh, I didn't tell you. So remember my British traffic school
Yes.
thing?
Yes.
I didn't tell you how that played out.
Has it escalated?
No.
Yes.
Well, that's played out.
You sound disappointed.
Well, it was just weird. I didn't know who to contact about how to get out of traffic school.
The Queen.
So I just called
You contact the Queen, right, Emma?
a general number and left a message,
She's
you know,
dead.
for
the King.
customer service. Like, I don't want to do it. And then a couple weeks later, I got airmail that said, our offer has been rescinded. You can't do traffic school. And I'm like, is this in response to my message? I don't know. And I'm awaiting further instruction. And then I got a follow-up airmail that said, it's £100. Just pay your ticket at this website. I'm like, okay. It was very anticlimactic. I was able to just pay, but it was very weird communications.
How much was the original ticket?
It's £100.
So, I mean, the cost of the ticket didn't change.
No,
but the ability to pay the ticket has increased.
no, they hadn't given me an option to pay the ticket.
Right.
They'd only gave me an option to go to traffic school.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to do. So,
£100.
yeah, £100, done. Paid, done.
Wonder how that compares to here. So what, like $130? What do you get for a speeding ticket here? I wonder?
Well, it depends how fast
You would
were
not
going.
pay that much for doing 28 miles per hour anywhere here.
Okay, just curious.
So anyway, so that's done. So just that update.
So £100 will buy you a couple of doner kebabs, chips, and a bottle of gin, and something nice for dessert. So, yeah, big night out, I suppose.
So another update is, Jim, remember you got a message from me the other day saying, hey, are you around?
Yeah, was that Friday?
Yeah. I didn't, and you're like, no, I'm not. Why? I didn't say, but it was because the Niken took a nap in the parking lot.
Laid right over.
Funny enough, I saw the duct tape on the saddlebags, and I thought, oh no, what happened?
It took a nap.
Were you making a right-hand turn?
No, I was just backing it out. You know how you lean into the seat to back it out? And I get to the final, like just making the turn, and it just went over the other way.
How many times did you drop the Africa Twin in the driveway?
I almost got crushed once, but I caught it.
So none, huh?
Yeah. So it just went over the other way.
What you need is another wheel.
And I could not
Fourth one.
lift it up
Sidecar.
at all.
Really?
Both wheels are in the air.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that thing's really heavy.
Yeah.
Both front wheels were up in the air.
Actually, no, just the one on the outside one.
Was it on
up
the
in
engine?
air.
Was it on that engine guard?
Yeah, the engine guard.
So it did its
the mirror
thing.
folded up. The bar end got a little scratch, and those semi-hard bags just kind of crushed like an aluminum can. It had already been cracked before.
Yeah,
It had
yeah.
been falling
But the
over.
fairing didn't crack, mirror didn't break
No,
anything.
nothing,
So
nothing.
that's not
But
bad.
I could not budge it.
That's interesting.
I could not budge it. So then I
It's a good
started.
reason not to take it off road.
I'm like, all right, I got a 8-foot long 2x4 and stuck it under there. I'm trying to like prop it up and shove like a shop stool under it, like anything to get it up in increments. And I was struggling, so I ended up getting the short jack that we have there for like lifting up bikes.
Yeah, the floor jack.
Yeah, and I got it just below the tank is a frame rail because it's a tubular frame, right? Like a trellis style.
Yeah.
And I just started jacking it up, and I got it up a good ways. I still couldn't get it up from there, and I got the jack up all the way, and so I just started sending messages. Hey, who's home?
I was home. You never called me.
No, because Evan, our neighbor, he was home. So he came out and helped me lift it. And once you get two people on it, it went right up. And having it already kind of lifted up.
But that is so interesting because when you ride it, I mean, you were aware that it has a little more extra weight than a conventional motorcycle, but it doesn't seem that
Is it the
heavy.
weight or kind of the geometry of it?
I think it's probably the geometry, Jim.
Because there's a bunch of that linkage stuff that's pretty up high in front.
Okay.
Yeah, it's once you get that second wheel down, there's so much weight to lift from there. So I had to get help, but it took a little nap. It's okay. But I do have a fascinating DMV story. So I had to take it to the DMV to get it registered.
Because you bought it with Arizona plates.
Arizona plates, and to bring a bike into California that if it's under how many years or under 7,500 miles and it comes from another state, you can't do it unless it is a California model. So you can't bring in a 49 state bike until it has 7,500 miles. This bike had 6,900 miles.
But it's a 50-state bike.
And well, I wasn't sure. And I went to the DMV earlier in the week to do a little recon. Like, what do I need? What do I got to bring? Can you tell me if it's a 50 state? And they were like, well, when you bring the bike in, we'll inspect them. Oh, so I need the bike here. You didn't tell me that when you gave me all the forms when I said, what do I need? Oh, yeah, you need to bring the bike in. Okay. So it was pretty simple. Filled out a form, rang the bell. Guy comes out, inspects it. I'm like, is it a 50 state? Is it a 50 state? And he's like, take this inside. They wouldn't tell me.
Were they looking for like a number or something? How do they
Looking for a
tell?
sticker.
There's a sticker, and
Okay.
it's quite a sophisticated sticker. It's an aluminized sticker, and it simply shows a schematic of the emission controls on the bike, and then it'll either say 49 state or 50 state, but it's finding the bloody thing in the first place. I fell foul of it with my Harley when I got it because it was under the 7,500 miles, and it was a 49 state bike. So I had to do a little bit of funny stuff.
Well, and what was interesting, while I was waiting for the inspection, there were also people getting in line to take their driving tests, so a lot of young people. And the car in front of me, the guy got out, and he's like, hey, what is this thing? And I'm like, hey. It's a guy who's been by the garage.
Oh, right.
And he was there with his daughter, who she took off to do the test, and we're talking about the Nike, and then a few minutes later, he sees her playing. Oh, there she is. Oh, it's too soon.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's kind of like it's so tragic to sit there and watch people coming back from their tests. It really is.
And,
Having known they failed.
Yeah.
I want to put away a myth that a lot of my friends, especially my English friends, think it is very, very easy to get a driving license in California. And I will concede it is easier to get a license here than in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
However, it's no cakewalk. You really need to bone up. You need to know the highway code, and you need to know what you're doing. You know, you can't just take it. You're not going to pass. You actually need to be a reasonable driver. And if you're a commercial driver like me, I mean, my God, you've got to jump through all kinds of hoops.
Yeah. So finally got the inspection. I got the paperwork. Now, DMV, and I think in every state, is known for being not being very on time. So the first step, you got to go into the pre guy who make sure you have your paperwork, gives you a number.
Do you have your papers?
And so you got to get in that line. So I go to get in the line. There's no line.
Ooh.
There's no line.
Well, that's cool.
I just walk right up to this guy at a little portable desk, and he goes, the paperwork. I hand it to him. Okay, you got this. Okay, yeah. Okay, you got this. And he goes, all right, you're number 149. They just called you at window 10. I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? That's never happened before, ever. And I walk over to window 10 cautiously. I'm like, 149? She's like, yes. I'm like, oh my God, I want to post on social media or something. This has never happened.
She got a lot of tickets.
She was laughing. So that was the first time ever that as soon as I walked in, I was able to go right up to a counter. Easy transaction, no problem.
And it was a 50 state bike.
And it was a 50 state. But I was waiting for is somebody going to tell me? Somebody going to tell me?
I have heard this many, many times before, that the pandemic actually fixed the DMV.
Maybe.
How's that?
Well, because the DMV was closed for in-person
People got used to online.
for so long, people kind of got used to doing stuff online. And it's never returned to pre-pandemic levels. Never. Because, I remember the DMV in Seaside up my neck of the woods. You'd have to go there at 7 o'clock in the morning. The line would already be down the street.
Even pre-pandemic, our little DMV here in Capitola has always been pretty good to me. I found them pretty easy and efficient.
So it was good. It was quick. It was easy. Bing, bang, boom, done.
And now you've got your Cal plates.
Got my Cal plates. But now, one more thing. So I did a little bit of riding on Friday, and I decided there's some things that the Nike needs. Okay.
Is it like the complaint department?
No.
Needs another wheel.
No. Well, especially since I
Needs a sidecar.
A gravity activated little swing arm.
since I crushed one of the side bags, which popped up pretty good, but it's all cracked.
Right.
I decided I'd rather have a top box, and it comes with a grab rail that has 3 holes in it to attach a mounting plate to support.
Yeah,
So
looks like it's ready for one.
So I go on Yamaha's website, find, there's my grab rail, and there's the, out of stock.
Wow.
The top box mount, out of stock. No problem. Go to eBay, go to Amazon, go everywhere.
Okay.
Looking for aftermarket companies.
Did they ever make it?
They did, but there's none
I bet
available.
Jivy do one.
Did they just market
No,
it?
but I
and never
want to get the
manufacture it?
Yamaha. I need to get the Yamaha one,
OEM
the OEM,
stuff.
because it fits the OEM grab bar and it fits the OEM bags.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
It all goes together. And none available.
Can I have a lozenge,
So,
John?
guess where I found one?
Not eBay, I assume.
Nope, not eBay.
Not Facebook
Facebook.
Marketplace.
Nope.
Where else does
Did
she
you
live?
find one on the street and just take it off?
Oh my
Local
gosh, it's got to be
dealership?
AliExpress.
That is correct.
Oh, God.
AliExpress?
Which brings us
Well,
to...
this is not OEM then.
Now,
Super
I didn't
enough.
order
It says
the
OEM.
I didn't order the luggage or anything, but they also had a blue Nike kickstand pad that it looks really cool. Which I'm like, yeah, that can't go wrong. But it was the only place I could find, and it's not cheap. It's it's not.
How much is...
I don't remember how much it was, but now I didn't order the luggage from Yamaha because that's a few $100s. I want to get this thing and test it out first before I put a top box on it.
Okay.
But look, I'm just saying, I know I get teased a lot for buying the Chinese stuff. But in this case, I searched everywhere.
Well, is there the Chinese top box for it? I mean,
Well, I mean, I'd rather get the Yamaha one that locks into it. They didn't sell that on AliExpress.
I was just curious. Yeah.
However, that said, one of the few complaints I have heard from a lot of Nikon owners is that the factory luggage is quite feeble.
Are there a lot of Nikon owners?
Yeah, there's enough
Like
of them
14 of them.
to form an opinion. There's enough to form a quorum.
Quorum.
So I'm going to get that in. Another thing I get to test out. But hey, AliExpress potentially saves the day because I am trying to go OEM as much as possible. So there you go. I want to jump into our topic tonight. And I said that we're not really talking about motorcycles.
Yeah,
That's not our
I'm
topic.
kind of on the fence about this, Liza, because in the past, I've navigated you away from controversial topics and said, look, this is a motorcycle podcast only. We should talk
Yes.
about motorcycles. And the only reason I'm giving you any slack with this
Thank you.
is just about everything we're talking about is at least transport related.
So this is the thing. We're, motorcycles are considered alternative transportation, right?
Alternative lifestyle.
Alternative transportation.
That's regional, though.
If they are alternative transportation, what is transportation? Usually it's just cars. That's referred to as, and everything else
Here
is
in
alternative,
California,
right?
yeah, it's cars.
It's cars. Everything else. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about alternative transportation, most specifically Santa Cruz, because we are a podcast out of Santa Cruz, and how Santa Cruz has changed the world in so many different avenues of alternative transportation. And I'll be honest, Scottie,
Yes.
a big part of this is because of you, this topic.
I didn't know it. Oh,
Well,
I've made a mistake.
you have worked and do work.
I do.
At some of the
It's
places
true.
on this list.
I've
And this
got-
is this is going. I'm just going to say it. We are bragging about how awesome Santa Cruz is,
It's rad.
and it's pretty amazing that if you were to describe Santa Cruz, it's beach culture. We got the boardwalk down the street. It's hippies,
Redwoods. Yeah.
Vampires.
redwoods, vampires,
a lot of tourists,
and just talking about just
Homeless people on the street.
we've got, just to paint a picture for anyone who hasn't been to Santa Cruz, from here where we sit right now, it's about a 39-second ride to the beach and about a 4-minute ride to the first twisty in the Redwoods.
Yep.
yeah, twisty 2-lane in the Redwoods.
I mean, we really
Yeah.
have amazing riding.
An hour and a half south of San Francisco, which is one of the world's great cities.
And,
Yep.
Hour from Big Sur.
and I was speaking with a friend recently. It's like we're not on the way to any place. We're just kind
We're
of
the
out here.
destination.
True. That's
we
a
are
good point.
We are the place.
We
If
are
you're
the
going to get here,
destination.
you're not coming
That's
by
true.
accident.
Well, I mean, Santa Cruz really is a town along Highway 1. But if you look at the history of Santa Cruz, you see Santa Cruz had a really profound effect on the town. If you go pre-UC Santa Cruz, which is the early 60s, Santa Cruz was just a very sleepy little beach
Well, way
town.
before that, we were the state capital for a minute.
Right. Yeah, just for a minute, though.
Well, and the industry here was based on redwood.
Right, exactly.
Well, a lot of
But then-
agriculture.
forestry,
farming, yeah.
And
farming.
we're at the top of the Salinas Valley, and a lot of the nation's
Right.
vegetables come from here. The Monterey Bay feeds that.
Fishing.
You mentioned UC Santa Cruz. UC Santa Cruz, their mascot is the banana slugs. Go slugs!
And here's a very, very interesting fact about UC Santa Cruz that not a lot of people, even in Santa Cruz, know. And the only reason I found this out was from an ex-partner who actually attended at the time. So UC Santa Cruz never intended to be as big as it is. However, history really stuck the lead pipe in because UC Santa Cruz shared a lot of lecturers and administrative staff with Berkeley. And the mid to late 60s was a very, very tumultuous time for Berkeley. There were a lot of riots. There was a lot of violence on campus. It was a real flashpoint.
A lot of bedwetting pinko comments,
Right.
I heard.
Oh, my word.
It really was a flashpoint for a lot of things that were going on. And what I didn't realize is if you were doing an undergraduate or postgraduate studies at Berkeley, they said, look, if the violence is getting you down and just the atmosphere, you can transfer without any problem to UC Santa Cruz. It's a quiet little sleepy town. And in that moment, there were about 3,000 students who just went, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And
So that
suddenly,
was the,
almost
migration.
overnight, UC Santa Cruz got big, quick. Because of that. So it's like a little bit of history.
So
Wasn't UC Santa Cruz where the 420 celebration started too?
Yeah.
It
Some
was.
have said.
Hell yeah. But a little motorcycle connection that just popped in my mind was if you've read Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels, they
Yeah.
talk about the Hell's Angels and LSD parties not far from here up in Woodside. What's that little town up there?
Woodside.
La Honda?
Yeah, La Honda. Thank
yeah.
you, Bagel.
That's
yeah,
where the
so the Merry
Pranksters.
Yeah, so Kim
Yep.
Kesey and all the acid trip
And the,
action was happening.
Wavy Gravy was there with the bus and all that.
And the Hells Angels causing problems.
Yeah.
Anyway, funky
Grateful
little
Dead
spot
in
in Santa Cruz. I'll tell you
Francisco.
what.
It's an interesting little town.
Janice lived in I think Boulder Creek area at one time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is. It's not big, but because we have so many resources here, and it's such an amazing location, it's brought in a lot of industry here.
Yes.
People choosing to live here. So let's go back. Let's do some of the old ones.
Everybody get
Going
your
back
history hole
to,
ready.
we're all going to be sharing some stories
Sorry,
about
Bill and
different
Ted.
companies. I think, Emma, which one is older, yours or mine? Why don't you want to start with Plantronics?
I'm going to start with Plantronics. And Plantronics is an interesting company. It's really the vision of two guys. And they were pilots. And their names were Keith Larkin and Courtney Graham. And it surprised me when I actually found out about the history of this company that it was as old as it was. And it was really founded in 1961. And these pilots were very, very dissatisfied with the headsets that were available for pilots at the time. As hard as it is to believe, you see the old Hollywood films where pilots actually have headphones on and they pick up a handheld mic and take their hands off the controls. That was a reality right up until 1961. And the company that really led the charge was Delta, of all people. Because Delta had just put in an order for some new DC-8s, which was like the competitor for the 707. I mean, it was very much a very modern jet aircraft.
And what did you have a year about?
61.
61, okay.
And they wanted, better gear. Because, I mean, the idea of a pilot flying a jet aircraft and then reaching up and picking up a microphone and, it was a bit incongruous. So they reached out for a lightweight headset. And these two cats came up with the beans. And they came up with a lightweight headset, which they've constantly refined over the last 60 years.
Was the first headset called the Beans?
It was called the MS-50, which sounds like a Los Angeles street gang. But nevertheless...
Was it integrated into the helmet to you?
Well, no, this is for airline pilots.
okay.
They don't wear helmets, darling.
Well, okay.
But their headsets did end up in a type of helmet.
Oh.
The following year, in 62, they went to the moon.
What?
Well, they orbited the moon because we didn't actually land on the moon till 1969. But the Gemini program, which predated Apollo, again, they were looking for lightweight headsets. And the story goes, and it was Grisham, I think it was. Where is he? Yeah, Gus Grisham. He left his standard NASA issue headset behind in the capsule when it splashed down, it sank.
Oh, okay.
And he needed another one quickly. And so he got a Plantronics one. And everyone liked it so much. So from that point forward, all the astronauts had Plantronics headsets.
Fascinating.
And it's just one of those quirky, fascinating... Houston, we have a problem. Everyone knows that line.
Yeah.
That was spoken
over
over a Plantronics headset.
And the most famous one of all, though,
is
one small step
for man, one giant leap for mankind. Again, Plantronics headset.
Really?
So it's one of those quirky things from humble beginnings. But the thing I like the most about this, it's just the vision of a couple of guys, a couple of pilots, like, this is just clunky. And, and it kind of dovetails into my Thunderbird. This period in American history, 1960, 61, 62, right up until the assassination of JFK in 1963, this is, I don't know whether you'd call them the Camelot years, but it's a very, very interesting period in American history because they were the sky was the limit.
Innovations were on fire right there.
Right,
that's what you're referring to. Like we were talking about Edwards Air Force Base, and look at the aircraft that were being built during that period. They were turning out the craziest stuff left and right.
And actually, it wasn't just in America. If you look at some of the British aircraft designs from the early 1960s, just crazy stuff. It looked like it belonged on a science fiction movie. And it was just a period of time when it doesn't matter. If you can think it, you can build it. So it's a very, very interesting period and a very, very interesting company. And they're still based right here in Santa Cruz. Actually, did they move to Scotts Valley yet? Because they were...
yes, they did.
They're not by Costco.
Yeah, because you guys took their place, right?
Right. They were on Encinal Street for a long, long time. And the reason I know that is because I worked for Santa Cruz Metro for a while. And they were right across, the administrative office were right across the street from Plantronics.
Plantronics has merged and gone on to do other things with Polycom and HP.
Yeah.
And now they've moved up to Scotts Valley, which for those of you who are not close to here is like 5 minutes up the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much Santa Cruz County. But
interestingly enough, we're going to come back to that campus, though, that they had.
It's a cool office.
It's that office. We're going to come back to that later on, because now someone else moved in there who's on our list.
There you go.
But what I have on my list goes back a little bit longer. 1957.
Oh, so right around that time.
1957, a little company called Lockheed bought some land in the Santa Cruz Mountains. So Lockheed Martin, as you know it, they build rockets, basically.
And they had a massive presence over the hill in Santa Clara County at Moffett, where they were doing a lot of West Coast missile.
They had that crazy black box building, didn't they?
It was called the Blue Cube.
Yeah, nobody kind of knew what was going on in there.
And they still don't. They just demoed it. But it was So we're near the West Coast Ground Zero for missile defense.
I'm gonna quote Terry Thomas in "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World." It was all very hush, hush, and whoosh, whoosh.
Well, in fact, many of us have ridden our bikes up the winding roads up to the Lockheed Martin gate. The road ends and there's a gate.
Yep.
And if any of you have experienced what I've experienced, sometimes you find, let's just stop, take a rest, wait for the rest of the group to catch up. And if you've done this, you might have heard the voice of God. From
around.
You must leave now. What? Where did that come from?
Oh,
what?
Bigfoot, where's he?
What?
Yep.
And you think you're just in the woods by yourself. Nope. There are cameras and there's a loudspeaker somewhere, and somebody will come on and tell you, you cannot stay. You must leave right now.
Yeah, it's just a little facility up in the middle of the mountains.
And you're like, what?
And if you didn't know what it was, it just looks like an unassuming gate off of a road.
It's just a gate at the end of a road. Well, I've been fortunate enough to be on the campus. I've been in there.
Oh, really?
I have. But let's get back to the history.
Was that when you were a Russian spy?
No. So they bought this land back in 1957.
You just triggered something in the NSA. They picked that up.
Why did they buy the land in the Santa Cruz Mountains? Because they were testing rockets. and 57, I mean, this is when they're developing
Right, of course.
rockets, right? The whole space race, all of that, right? But not just
Cold War.
that.
Cold War.
Satellites. There's a lot of rockets being used for that kind of stuff. And they needed to have land that if something blew up, it wouldn't kill a whole bunch of people.
Super remote.
It's super remote. So they bought all this land up there, have this big campus. In fact, they worked up there on that campus, the U.S. Navy's Trident II D5 Fleet ballistic missile. Also, they worked on the U.S. Missile Defense Agency's Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. Isn't that the thing that shoots down missiles in the sky?
Yeah, that's Star
also,
Wars in effect.
The space shuttle.
Yes.
But a lot of the satellites that are in the air today were put up there from rocket technology that was developed. So I've been on the campus. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't look all like space agey or sci-fi or anything. It's just some buildings. But apparently there are a lot of underground buildings and tunnels, and people who, like, if you go on Reddit, there are people like, oh yeah, I heard it goes like 40 feet underground, and
there's like mole people.
And someone else was commenting about, like, yeah, I knew a guy. He was a metal worker, and every now and then the rockets would melt the whole I-beam structure because they had these pads with I-beams, and they bolt these rockets in and shoot them off, and
I was going to ask,
it would melt it, and they'd have to come in and replace all the metal.
So they were doing things like testing rocket motors and all that, like put them on a sled or whatever.
Yeah, so a friend of mine works up there now. That's how I've been on campus, and he said, yeah, they had these pads. They don't have them there now. They have, I think they're out in like Utah now that they're testing it, but they would test the big rockets. They bolt them down and test them. So what's interesting, I've been on the campus, and there's just some buildings, but when you go in, you have to hang a flag on the door so that they know somebody is in the building. It's just part of the protocol for if they have to evacuate stuff. So they just know where people are. And I was telling you, I saw on display, they have part of a missile, like a section of a missile. And I'm going to try and describe what I saw, and I may be doing it wrong, but it was, if you imagine just a big round section, like just part of the missile out of the middle, and
like
it had
a slice of sausage.
Yeah, and it had running all around the outside of it, stainless steel braided brake lines. It looked like hydraulic lines running all over it, and it was explained to me, and that's why I might get it wrong, but I'm going to try that because electronics can be knocked out. That this uses these small explosions that force pressure through these braided lines to communicate to different switches. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. It triggers a little...
All that stuff's very analog.
Very analog.
Yeah, all that missile stuff.
Yeah, kind of fascinating. So anyway, Lockheed Martin right here in Santa Cruz Mountains. And
very cool.
A lot of
those little explosive bolts and little small charges are made just down in...
Hollister, yeah.
Oh, really?
There you go.
That little place on the right as you're going towards Hollister Hills.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, someone was killed there not too long ago.
Well, we've got
an exploding bolt?
Some kind of...
I think it was for a passenger airbag.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We've got so many different things. Jim, I'm trying to kind of go from old to new, but it's so hard because long history. But I think yours goes back pretty far.
Yeah, hang on just a second. But I was going to say I was going to go back even further than both of you.
Oh.
Where was surfing invented? Well, not here. We know surfing is, of course, invented in Polynesia.
Right.
But the first surfing happened here in Santa Cruz in 1885 by 3 Hawaiian princesses who surfed the mouth of the San Lorenzo River on planks.
It was the first time on the mainland, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's that.
Surfing, that's alternative transportation.
True.
Yeah, it's a generous definition of transportation, but I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. I was going to talk a little bit about Jack O'Neill. And you know, Jack O'Neill, he's a surfboard and surf gear or clothing, whatever, pioneer.
He had that patch. He looked like a pirate.
He had a patch. He did lose an eye a little later.
And eventually motorcycle. I'm sure you're going to get to it, but I have a lot of O'Neill gear.
Different.
Oh, it's different.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Different spelling.
I thought it was the same company.
No.
EA and EI.
Oh, I am staying corrected.
Yeah. So there's Jack O'Neill Surf Dude, and then there's O'Neill motorbike stuff. And anyway, he didn't invent the wetsuit, but he did a lot of refinement to it.
I thought he did.
No, they give credit to somebody else. But anyway, did a lot of refinements to the wetsuit and really popularized cold weather surfing in a lot of ways. But instead of but fascinating character, check him out. Jack O'Neill, famous Santa Cruz local. But I thought I would talk a little bit more in the motion into things. So, as most people probably know, besides Vampire, Santa Cruz is known for surfing and skateboarding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So we have
right?
NHS, right, is is the original skateboard company out here, and so a lot of skateboarding goes on out here. Definitely part of the culture. Especially if you ever see any kids between the ages of like 7 and 15-year-olds on skateboards, cut them a wide berth. The groms get a little crazy. But anyway, so a rich culture of skateboarding. So bear with me, and I will make the nexus to the
I would just like to say, in
transportation part.
1976, I got my first skateboard. It was the Big Banana.
I was going to say the banana.
I had one of those. I had that. Yep.
It was all hard plastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought I
Well,
was the king of the street.
slightly prior to that, in 1973, three dudes, Richard Novak, Doug Hout, and Jay Sherman, three surf friends from Santa Cruz, teamed up to start the company Scottie just mentioned, NHS. So it was their surnames is how they came up with the name. And you also might recognize Doug Hout, who went on from this and created his own surfboard company, Hout Surfboards. Anyway, but in the beginning, they were starting to make surfboards back in the early 70s, and they were having a hard time making things afloat. But a Hawaiian friend came up to him and challenged them with a bunch of extra fiberglass he had to make 500 skateboards.
Oh.
Right. So the first ever Santa Cruz skateboard was produced in 1973. So they made 500 out of that first batch of fiberglass and resin and sold them immediately. So from that moment on, the Santa Cruz, it became a symbol of skateboard culture, right? Nestled here in Santa Cruz. Were
they the first one to come up with the fiberglass skateboard?
No, but close.
Okay.
We're getting there. They may have been, but not that I know of.
Okay. But there's a thread here that things may not have been invented, but were definitely refined.
Yep, you're catching on to it here. And then going, Doug Hout was eventually introduced into the Surf Builders Hall of Fame for his surfboard building. So anyway, originally the skateboard wheels had the old bearings in them that would kind of, you'd stick in there and they'd fall out and go flying everywhere and all that kind of thing. Well, the big change that happened that came from NHS was anyway, hang on just a second.
With the integrated...
Yeah. So, okay, so anyway, up until that point, every wheel, including the Cadillac wheels, just had the loose ball bearings in the wheels for this to spin. But the birth of the Road Riders was unorthodox. So the Road Rider skateboard wheels are what they came up with. So one day while Richard and Jay were assembling loose ball bearings onto the trucks, something happened that wound up changing the entire skateboard industry.
Yeah.
And by accident, Jay spilled a wooden cask of 100,000 individual loose ball bearings.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God.
So then they had a friend of theirs called Anthony Roderick came into the shop, and he was from a Rhode Island company called Quality Products, and he had a sealed precision bearing in his hand. So they were thinking if they could put these precision sealed bearings into skateboard wheels. So lo and behold, with Quality Productions heading up in production, they started making the Road Rider precision skateboard wheel in 1975 and then sold 1 million sets worldwide. So again, they didn't invent the ball bearing for skateboards, but they didn't refine it to the modern machine precision ball bearing.
Innovate, refine, mass market.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that was my 2 cents. It's all about ball bearings.
I wanted to throw in about the Santa Cruz skateboards.
Mm-hmm.
What they did to really change the world.
They invented hoodies.
Nope. But I believe that Santa Cruz Skateboards is really the first company that used artwork and clothing to bring skate gear to the main population.
That's
and a lot
true.
of that is because of
Jim Phillips.
Jimbo Phillips.
Right. Well, there's two. Don't get them confused. There's Jim and Jimbo.
Okay.
So Jim Phillips was the original guy in the 80s that came up with what everyone knows.
Are they related?
Is the
screaming hand.
The screaming hand.
Yeah.
So if you've ever seen anything from Santa Cruz, you've seen the screaming hand logo. So he developed that, I want to say, sometime in the 80s. And then since that time, and became a graphic artist for NHS and himself. Very popular in Japan, by the way. If you can get any Jim Phillips stuff in Japan, it's worth a lot of money. But then his son now, Jimbo Phillips, is also a graphic artist and a super cool dude. I know him. Our kids are the same age growing up and stuff. And lives in town, and he's kind of taken the mantle and has run with it. So Jimbo Phillips, you'll see a lot of his graphic art on skateboards. Socks, didn't you get some socks?
Yeah, I have Jimbo Phillips.
You'll see it on merch
design
socks and other things. But I agree. I think that NHS was hugely responsible for bringing skate culture to the masses.
Yes.
And I was going to say, I mean, he's really selling that lifestyle, and that's what it was all about, is this whole skate culture and skate lifestyle.
Yeah, and NHS is still alive and happening downtown
absolutely.
over in the Midtown area.
Are they still over in the old cannery?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How about John? You want to share something?
Yeah, I did a. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold, everybody. So I did a bit of a deep dive on Fox, which I learned a lot.
Fox is an interesting one.
Yeah, so I feel like this
goes in
is a
circles.
potential history hole for Emma in the future, because we're just going to scratch the surface here. But so some folks may not know that there's two Fox companies. One is
Yes.
Fox Racing, actually called Fox Head now. That was founded by Jeff Fox, and they primarily focus on action sport gear, protective equipment, and things like that. And then there's Fox Factory, founded by Bob Fox. Now, the way to tell the difference is the Fox Head is Fox Racing, and the Fox Tail on the logo is Fox Factory.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were two companies for a long time, and then I started
Yeah.
like, oh, there's the head, oh, there's the tail. These were brothers?
They
They were brothers, so I'll get into
parent?
that. Yep. So in the early 70s, Bob Fox started the company, and he was an inventor and a motocross racer, and he started using his own motocross designs. So in 74, and then a year later after that, his brother Jeff joined the company, and they marketed the first ever air shock absorber for motorcycles.
This was a
Air
huge
spring, not air damped.
game changer.
No external spring.
Right.
So yeah,
Air spring,
Yeah.
internal air spring.
So, and they won, and I'll get a little more into that, but they won. So Kent Howerton won the 1976 AMA 500 championship on a Fox air shock equipped Husky.
Hey, Emma, I haven't looked this up, so I may be throwing you a hard one here. When did that become common on a stock bike?
Let me get to that.
So you do have that? Because I'm just like, you realize they went from just springs.
It
to,
really didn't, and Emma will clarify in a little
Yeah.
bit, but we'll get to that. So what happened was so that took off, and so the issue really why it was advantageous. These are just for two shock rear bikes, and the motocross bikes went from like a 5 to 6 inch travel. And then in the 70s, when Supercross started and some of the more higher jumps started, they went to like a 12-inch ground clearance. So there was a big issue. So Fox stepped up and did their air shocks for two shock systems on the rear in the early to mid 70s, and it was crazy effective. So really, the main years were 76 to 78, and by the end of it, all the racers incorporated these shocks into it. So. Fox Factory did make, well, let me back up. So it had, the big innovation was it had two chambers, a low pressure chamber for small bumps and the secondary high pressure chamber for big hits. So it worked really, really well for about 3 years. And then motocross bikes started going to the single shock, monoshock. And it just, what happened was it was the jumps got too big, kind of the terrain got too heavy, and the air shocks couldn't compensate for it enough. They would overheat and blow out. And so everybody started to go back to the coil-over shocks that we were before. So it was a brief history that was, really successful, and then, it got overtaken by the single shocks. They did make a single shock for Yamaha, but it was a failure. So and the funny thing was like that single shock they made for Yamaha, what they would have to do is start the heats with almost no pressure in the shock, and by the second lap they would start to pump up
expand.
for the heat, and so the riders would. So it'd be great at the end of the race and horrible at the beginning of the race. So that's why they just abandoned that completely. They also did a thing called the Fox Twin Clicker Shock, which was again for the rear, and it was the first motocross shocks with dual external dampening adjusters for real ones for rear dual shocks applications. But it eventually got moved over and was used by a race car driver named Tom Sneva, who won the 83 Indianapolis 500 on Fox on these Fox Twin Clicker shocks. So they continue to innovate throughout the years. And then they eventually got into bicycles and off-road stuff and rock climbers and all these other things. So they moved away from the from only the air shocks, although they still make them. Some motorcycles still use them, like Harley Softails. A lot of the cruisers will still use air shocks, but they're not really a good application anymore for race bikes or for motocross bikes. They did do a 44 millimeter factory forks. So we're the first ones to try a aftermarket front setup, but it also was a failure. But they tried it, and other companies picked it up from there and made it better. The interesting thing, though, that I read was recently Works Performance they've been messing around again with air shock applications. So they haven't made it work yet. There was one factory team that tried it. It was a failure, but it's in process now. So some people are starting to try out the air shocks once again. So that's the Fox factory side of it. So, and I don't know, Emma, if you have any thoughts about just air versus coilover or any of the suspension stuff.
Well, the air's great, but it does have inherent problems, and it's always to do with heat. The premium shock setup is coils, oil, and an inert gas, which
Nitrogen,
can be air.
Yeah.
Or it can be, and that's the premium. That you're going to get the best of everything. So it's the compromise. One does one job, and another does another job.
Well, one of the reasons they said that they developed the air shock was because, as you know, if you wanted to change the coil rate on a race bike, you have to pull the whole rear shock off, change it, and it's a pain in the neck if you've ever done it. I've done it.
Right.
So with the innovation that Fox brought is that you can just pump it up.
Yeah,
Right.
and
I've had bikes in the past, both sport bikes and touring bikes, with air shocks on them, actually by S&W, by Stuart Warner. And it's a very different ride.
Yeah.
It's a very, very comfortable ride.
There's a really neat thing about air springs, which aside from just being lighter than a coil spring, they ramp up so much more aggressively, especially at the end of the travel, where they become the spring rate basically increases as you start to pile up air pressure in there. So it makes it extremely difficult to bottom out an air spring.
Right, it's truly progressive.
So if you're really coming down hard from something
Right.
big, it's nice to have
Is it still
a progressive spring.
the standard for bicycles?
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
far and away the most common. There you'll see coil spring shocks, both front and rear, on some bicycles because people enjoy that more linear feeling. But it's most common, yeah.
The big problem before you move on to clothing, and it's not an insurmountable problem, but it's always been a problem with these things, is you have a choice with a twin shock or a twin fork application. You either need a very, very accurate way of measuring and pumping them up if they are independent, or, which is the more common, you have a bridging device.
Oh.
But the problem is with a bridging device,
It's another thing to break, huh?
if you get a leak in any of the joints, in any of the lines, your suspension collapses.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that, in theory, it's great, but when you throw it out in the real world with all the quirks we've got out here, I had a GS1000 with air shocks way back in the day, and a Sharpstone flicked up and just punctured one of the lines.
I think you're riding on
and boom, the whole back of the bike collapsed. No, I was dead in the water because the rear tire was rubbing underneath the fender. Couldn't go any further.
Yep.
So
With front suspension, though, it might be beneficial because we're seeing a lot more front suspension that has compression just on one side and then damping on the other side.
Right.
So maybe there's a future. That's how most of the bicycles work, by the way.
So it sounds like people are starting to mess around with it once again for race applications.
Cool.
So the brother Jeff in '77 decided he would switch off and focus more on apparel, and he created his. And the first thing he did was created his own professional motocross team, Team Moto X.
Is this head or tail?
This is head.
Okay.
Yeah. So Fox Racing is now Fox Head. So
It is brilliant how they split it off.
Yeah.
So they got real involved in motocross racing, but ultimately what they did was they started doing. Sorry, let me get back to my notes here.
T-shirts. They started doing cool
so
T-shirts.
so they started doing T-shirts and apparel, and it got really hot. So, and a lot of the racers really wanted their stuff. It was known to be very durable, and a lot of really great colors, which wasn't available before that. So Fox Head started out, with nothing, but then grew to be one of the largest apparel manufacturers for motocross, and now for bicycle and some of the other applications too. In terms of where they're at now, they're both started kind of locally between here and over the hill into the Bay Area proper. And they've grown. Now, Fox Factory is based, it was bought by a private equity company. and they're based out of Duluth, Georgia, although they do still have a presence here in Santa Cruz. And the Fox factory was bought by Vista Outdoor, who also owns Giro, which I know Scottie will talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
And Bell. So they own Giro, they own Bell,
And Fox.
they own Fox, Head, they own Remington and Savage.
They've sold off their firearms.
Oh, they
stuff
did
now,
sell
yeah.
to firearms. Okay, interesting. So they had that. I think they did during one of the school shootings. They finally sold that off.
I don't think they care about that.
Yeah. So, but they were bought out by like a $500 million private equity firm, and did so. The Fox brothers did really well, and they're a Santa Cruz legend and Santa Cruz success stories.
Absolutely.
And definitely, I mean, and changed the sport in mountain biking and motocross.
Yeah, and they have, I mean, one of their things in Georgia now is that they do a huge amount of OEM automotive stuff for like Ford pickup trucks and things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big in the overlanding community too now.
They're just getting big.
Before you do, Giro, I'll do one real quick. This is one a lot of people may not realize. CRG levers. Does this ring a bell to anyone?
Oh, yeah.
I have a set.
The mirrors and
Do you?
stuff too, yeah.
I do.
Yeah, they make mirrors, rear sets. Why? And they were here out of Santa Cruz. I think they started about 1998. It was interesting. The story is the guy who started, and I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of details because since yesterday they closed their website. So all the information I had
Get on the
just
Wayback
disappeared.
Machine.
Just disappeared. But
They were always a bit kind of hard to find anything about, but they make great levers.
But he would hang out at Laguna Seca when they do a lot of the testing and stuff. And one of the complaints people had, and now, Emma, you would recall, on even the best like race bikes before that, how would you adjust your levers? Because racers all want to get the levers just fine-tuned.
Like if you want to do adjust the reach.
Did they all have like the knob you'd have to turn like on traditional bikes?
Well, if you were lucky enough to have that, I mean, right up until that point, you always ran that compromise, say, with a clutch lever, is you just give it more and more free play until you get the span you want, but then you might not be able to get neutral at a standstill.
So CRG, through Constructors Racing Group is what it is, through many different prototypes. So just starting out making levers for friends at the racetrack, and then like racers wanted it and turned into a whole company. But the roll and click, where basically you can just click a lever over with your thumb to change the depth of your lever pretty quickly.
Changes like the resting position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can quickly just adjust where your levers sit. So those became very, very common, and now so many people rip it off and do the same thing. I've even seen just stock bikes now have that kind of lever on it. So CRG levers, they were right next to Fox down in Watsonville, and they moved out of there a while ago. I assume they've been bought up by somebody else because now the website just shut down. Oh. But you can still buy CRG levers, so I assume they got sold. Yeah. But Giro. I had never heard the name Giro.
So I worked there for some time. Yeah. Giro. For the entirety of the time that I was employed there, close to a decade, nobody really cares how you say it, as long as you're thinking about them. So Giro, nobody cares. They're all the same. Yeah, so Giro Cycling bicycle helmets was founded, and run here out of Santa Cruz for a long time. Started in 1985. And
now, back then, I think my only option was a big white styrofoam thing and made you look like a ping pong ball.
Like the one your science teacher wore.
Yeah, they were fairly ugly. And that was why Jim, who I just saw at a bike race this last weekend, he's still out, he's still around, still racing bikes.
Oh, yeah?
Jim Gentis, who founded the company, just didn't think they looked cool, because they didn't. So he made some good-looking ones. Started off with an aerodynamic sort of Advantage racing. It was called the Advantage.
Is that the crazy one with the point on the back?
Yeah, with the big old point in the back.
Oh,
that was the very first product, and then very shortly after that, they brought in some really cool style. And it seems so obvious maybe at the time or in retrospect, but adding colored panels on top of a helmet totally changed the visual perception of the size and shape of the helmet. And you could change the colors because they were like these little Lycra nets you'd put over the top. Shortly after that, they then introduced co-molded helmets with fiberglass inside of them to make them stronger, thinner, lighter, make them a lot better. And Giro is here in Encinal, right across from where Plantronics used to be for a long time. In 2006, I think, they were absorbed by Easton Bell Sports. Easton, the baseball bat and hockey stick company, had at that time purchased Bell Sports, or merged with Bell Sports. And then they merged again with Giro. Then that whole conglomeration moved a little ways up the road into Scotts Valley. Since then, Giro's gone on to really mass market and become one of the largest helmet manufacturers in the world for cycling helmets. And now they've actually closed that office, laid everybody off, and everybody who does still work there works down in Southern California out of the Fox Head offices.
There you go.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a circle.
Yeah,
It's a circle.
all these things are circles. Wow. So let's see. We got that done. We got that done. Oh yeah, Giro. They
Yeah, and
changed
actually,
everything.
my first bicycle helmet was a Giro, as a matter of
There
fact.
you go. Did you know it came from Santa Cruz?
I did, as a matter of fact. It was printed on the label.
Yeah, they were made here in Santa Cruz for a long time also. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bagel, since you just woke up, you want to talk about one of yours?
Yes.
Were you napping? Right there?
No, I was not napping. I was
resting his eyes, like my dad used to say.
Listening intently.
No. There's another Santa Cruz company that some of you might have heard of, which is now known as Zero Motorcycles.
There it is.
Oh.
We're back on motorcycles.
Yes, for once in the show.
Yeah.
This was founded by Neil Salke in 2006,
Yeah.
originally to build electric dirt bikes, because he previously worked at Santa Cruz Mountain Bicycles, and
There you go.
apparently wanted an off-road bike that could be a little bit beefier than your typical electric bike. So the company he started in 2006 was originally called Electric Cross.
Ooh.
And we had the sole focus of building electric dirt bikes. And they opened their first. They were founded in Santa Cruz, but they opened their first shop in Scotts Valley that same year. Their first model was called the Electric Cross Drift in 2006, which is the first electric dirt bike.
I remember seeing this around town. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but they very soon after that renamed the company to Zero in 2007 to highlight the aspect of zero emissions. And they struggled for a little bit, especially after the 2008 recession, because that hit right as they were just starting to get going. But they regrouped, started coming out with two new models in 2010, the Zero S and the DS. Upgraded those both in 2012 with a power pack to add the range of the bikes, and then redesigned the bikes entirely in 2013, along with a new model they added, the Zero FX.
Now,
Which
can I point something out that's interesting?
Yes.
Point it.
That the FX was the first dirt model, but it wasn't. The first was the first Zero, and it took that long for them to come back around. And do you know why the first bike was an off-road bike?
Didn't have to deal with DOT.
Bagel mentioned it.
Yes, you don't have to deal with all the DOT, all that stuff. You can just
This
create
is
it.
true.
And so it's the easiest to market is a non-street legal bike. It's just interesting how long it took them to come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they did go street legal in 2010 with the D and the DS. But 2013 is when they really started hitting their stride with the redesign of the first two models and the addition of the FX. In 2014, they also added the Zero SR, and the power tank became an option for most of their models, I believe, that same year. 2016, they came out with the DSR and the FXS. And then in 2020, they came out with the SRF and SRS models that are the ones that just completely blow you out of the water. And from personal experience, I would have to say the Zero SRF is the closest thing I have ever ridden that has come to warp speed.
Oh,
Yeah, they really kick you. They're fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they really have.
Mind-boggling acceleration.
Zero has led the charge internationally
No pun.
in electric motorcycles.
Oh.
They really have. And even though there's more and more coming out, Zero still is the one who's kind of paving the path
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we talked a little bit about bringing culture to the masses. I mean, the one thing Zero has done, they're certainly not the fastest electric motorcycle out there. And, you can't really accuse them of being the most glamorous either. But what they've done is, as of right now in 2023, I think they're the only mass production electric motorcycle maker still.
Well, that dovetails perfectly into another thing, which is Bagel touched on, which is Santa Cruz Bikes, which came out of NHS, the skateboard company, and Rob Roscop, one of their athletes, wanted to make a mountain bike, and full suspension mountain bikes existed in the 90s, but one of the first mass marketed and popular, successful full suspension mountain bikes was the 1994 Tasman, invented or marketed by Santa Cruz Bikes.
So Santa Cruz Bikes and Santa Cruz Skateboards, how are they related?
They were originally the same company, as I understand it, and then they've separated.
Yes.
They've totally moved on to do their own things now. Santa Cruz Bikes is owned by a company called Pawn Holdings now, out of the Netherlands. But that doesn't matter.
Oh, we didn't even mention, just the name is cool. Who is it? Is it Hyundai who has the Santa Cruz
I've
car
seen
now?
that lately. Yeah.
Looking thing,
Yeah, we're seeing more of it. Well, I have one to share with you. I mean, talking about skateboards, going back to skateboards, there was a company called Inboard, which may or may not have heard. Now, we see electric skateboards quite often. They're really common here. But they weren't the first company. They started in 2014. They were the second company to introduce an electric skateboard. But they were the first company to have a swappable battery. And you remember you used to see these with I think they had lights and stuff. But Inboard was interesting. It was local guys. One of them
This isn't the one wheeler, is it?
No, this is a skateboard with four wheels.
Is this the where they have like the little remote control in their hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy
father's got
was
like a dozen of those things.
student UC Santa Cruz, developed it just for getting around campus. And people were like, I want one. And he partnered with some friends and turned it into a company. And they did things different. There was another company that was making electric skateboards, but they were the first ones to do swappable batteries, make it really easy. And it blew up. They even went on Shark Tank, got like 750.
This is recent.
Yeah, well, it started in 2014.
Okay.
And it was just blowing up. They sold thousands and thousands of units. But like many companies, they got too many investors on board, and they were looking for the what's next before they'd even really established themselves in the skateboards. And they said electric scooters will be the what's next. They were making deals, signing contracts. And then some of the investors felt like, we're not sure we want to stick with that. People started pulling out. The Shark Tank guys pulled out, and they were just sold off and folded. The company was just folded, and I think it was not just a few years later. But the electric skateboard, they really did change things and were a step, on the way here in Santa Cruz. But yeah, the tragic way that many
and now there
tech
are electric
companies
scooters
go.
all over the planet that you can go and rent for the hour and have a good time with.
Yeah. So so that was Inboard. Who wants to take Onewheel? Bagel?
Well, yeah, I've been looking into Onewheel. This is a very interesting one, which got mentioned a minute ago. This is a sort of electric skateboard, but sort of different.
Describe it. We see them all over here.
Yeah, we know what they are. But
Right. We're kind of used to them. I'm not sure if they're so ubiquitous in the rest of the country or the rest of the world.
Oh, they have like races, and a whole thing is cropped up in these.
they're around the world, but they
Sure.
are still pretty weird looking.
Right.
They're weird.
Right. I don't think the world's quite used to them yet or knows what they are. So let me describe basically what it is.
Yeah.
The original idea of the Onewheel is to replicate the feeling of snowboarding / surfing on dry ground. So it has a feel that's similar to skateboarding, but different with more of a floating feeling, while you're still steering, accelerating, and stopping just by leaning.
So did you describe it's one wheel?
It's one wheel in
With
the
a-
center of the board.
The center of the
basically.
board.
With a
yes.
pneumatic
So-
tire, which is the magic,
Yeah.
which makes it feel
Yeah.
floaty.
Exactly.
It's
So
a go-kart
it's
tire,
very-
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah, it's a go-kart
Yeah.
tire.
Yeah, small pneumatic tire in the middle of this board, kind of a wide, long board that you put one foot on either side of this wheel, And if you lean forward on the board, it will go forward. If you lean backward on the board, it will slow down and eventually stop. If you tip your feet to lean it to the right, it will turn to the right. So it's kind of a genius, a genius idea.
The forwards and backwards is computers. The left and right is because you're leaning, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're turning a wheel.
Just like with a motorcycle when
Right.
you're leaning.
Yeah.
Yep. So the original idea, as from what I had been able to gather, was invented by a guy named Ben Smither in 2007. But very soon after that, a fellow named Kyle Dirksen got together with him and developed this concept over the next 8 years into something that could actually be ridden reliably and could be mass produced. And so in 2013, they founded a company called Future Motion to manufacture the board and launch the company on a Kickstarter in January of 2014.
Were they over in the old Wrigley building?
Yeah, they were in the Wrigley building.
Exactly.
You didn't know where Wrigley gum used to be made.
Yep. They started. Yeah, they set up the headquarters there in 2015 after an immensely successful Kickstarter. They raised something like over $600,000, I think. So they started out in the Wrigley building, eventually expanded to a 60,000 square foot facility in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I remember they were just in one of the units. And
Where
see
is
guys
that?
just assembling
60,000 square feet.
Wow. Yeah, it's taken off.
So they're manufactured here and produced here and everything. And they've had a number of different models over the years. The first one they came out with in 2014 was their original Onewheel. Then in 2017, they came out with a Onewheel Plus, which had a top speed of 19 miles per hour and a 5 to 7 mile an hour range. The Onewheel Plus XR in 2018 had 19 mile per hour top speed, but a 12 to 18 mile range. The Onewheel Pint in 2019, which is kind of a scaled down version, has a 16 mile an hour top speed and a 6 to 8 mile range. The Onewheel Pint X that came out in 2021 has an 18 mile an hour top speed, 12 to 18 mile range. Then you come up to the current model, top of the line models, which are the GT series. The GT came out in 2021, which has a 20 mile per hour top speed and a 20 to 32 mile range. And then the GTS, which now has which came out this year, 2023, there's a 25 mile an hour top speed and a 16 to 25 mile range.
Stands for Grand Touring, fucker.
And these speeds that we're talking about are they're relatively low compared to most motorcycle speeds. But oh my gosh, when you're standing on a single
if you were to
wheel,
Superman off that thing,
you are cooking.
Yeah, you're on a floating board doing 25 miles an hour. That's nothing to sneeze at.
On a dirt road, it's gnarly.
I'm sure they're safer than a scooter as well.
Depends on the pilot.
At least sexier. No, I'm kidding.
All depends on who's on board.
Just kidding.
I've seen where they've created these like racing circuits there. It's like supercross on one wheels on dirt.
Oh yeah.
They're sliding around corners, doing jumps.
These are not just street bound vehicles. These are all terrain one wheel boards that you can take into trails, on grass, and dirt. You know, like they've got torque. You know, they can climb an incline. They're rugged. They've got a very solid aluminum frame. They can handle bumps. There's video of people doing jumps on them and everything. I mean, these are like some serious board sport vehicles.
One of the first times I saw somebody on one wheel, they were going from the highway down to 4 Mile to go surfing.
On the one?
On the dirt road that goes down to the beach. From the highway down to the beach.
Oh, that's
They're
brilliant.
zipping down that.
With a surfboard?
Of course, yeah.
And Liza, they also involve something which I think is one of your favorite words. Controversies.
That was crab cake.
Oh, from the breaking thing recently?
Controversies.
Clam bake.
They've had a few.
Yeah.
And so let me get into these two because this is important. They have a controversy about right to repair.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they added a feature on their boards that if you try to disconnect or service or tamper with the battery in some way, it will entirely brick the entire unit. So you are basically not allowed to do anything with the battery unless you return it to their one service center that they have for working on these things.
Yeah, it's a real warranty challenge.
Yeah, they do this citing the need for safety because with lithium batteries and sensitive electronics, yada yada. Maybe there's a case to be made there, but it does seem like this is a bit of an overreach. I
almost saw Emma go full plasma. Emma almost went full plasma down at the Vetter Ranch one time.
Exactly. And, the thing is, I am going to play devil's advocate a bit with this, because generally, right to repair, I'm a huge advocate of. Everyone should have the right to work on their own vehicle without any fear of warranty. However, the Onewheel is clearly one of the vehicles with a very, very high potential to wring your bloody neck on. And I'm sure it's very electronic heavy. Has it got a gyroscope in it?
Oh, it's got multiple gyroscopes, yes.
Oh, God, no, you can't fix that yourself.
Well, there is a sizable aftermarket and repair industry for these things.
Right, but the thought of somebody thinking, I can fix this in my shed, and then falling off it and hurting themselves quite badly.
Well, yes, I mean if you repair it improperly, but remember, there are a lot of boffins who are into these. So there are a lot of people who know what they're doing, who want to be able to repair and customize these if they could. But the company just is putting up these roadblocks intentionally to prevent them from doing that, and that's where the controversy comes from.
There's a lively aftermarket.
Well, for some models and not others.
Okay,
and for some parts, but one of the things that they were adamant about originally was they would not even allow their users to replace the tires on them.
Oh wow!
You couldn't change your tire without sending it to the service center. Now that's the one thing that they have relented on, from what I found out. So it is now possible for you to have an independent service center change the tire for you.
Well, it's not a problem for us. They're just up the street.
Well, this is true. So,
cool.
So they're having a couple of other controversies that I think are important to talk about.
All right.
Just very quickly, there's an episode of ghosting that happened that apparently was very prevalent with the GT model, where if you came off the board would continue without you. And that
kind of like a MotoGP bike.
Yeah, so that was a little defect that they found. They did issue a recall where they recalled over 20,000 units, but they did fix that one. So props to the company for making good on that. They're having other issues I heard about with like circuitry, where they're using some connectors that are getting overloaded by the amount of power, some wiring supports and wiring that breaks. I wasn't able to find out a whole lot about whether they issued any sort of fixes or recalls for that, but one would hope they've been addressing those. But the biggest one that I found was the issue of what's called nose diving.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This is a bike that you are balancing on, and if you can think about it, you're basically on a seesaw, with one foot on either side of it. And if you push the forward side down too far, when you're traveling at speed, you're going to bury the nose into the ground, and that board's going to come to a stop really quick, and you're not. So that's been happening to a couple of users who have basically pushed the board too far and literally pushed the nose into the ground, and they've gone flying. And it's resulted in at least a couple of deaths from what I've heard.
Good Lord.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And so there's a concept with these boards, which is known as pushback, where the board gives resistance to you when you're pushing it forward in order to accelerate, so that it was able to translate that into forward motion through the wheel. But if you push more than the motor of the bike is able to push back against your foot, you're still going to be able to nose plant, essentially. So when you ride these things, you have to learn that there's a very fine balance where you can only accelerate so much, and you can't push it indefinitely and try to make it accelerate more than it can, because that's when you're going to push yourself past this pushback zone and go right into the ground.
I bet you learned that
flying.
pretty quick once all the flesh is off your hands. You're like,
Yeah,
Ow.
and so this has become a very big issue because a controversy because the CPSC, the Consumer Product Safety Council, issued a warning letter in November 22 against the company, basically saying that this is an unsafe product that they do not recommend people use. Essentially,
That probably made it more popular.
well, it could. It has that potential.
It makes it
And-
really challenging for a lot of big retailers.
Right, and that's where the problem comes in because it becomes a liability for companies to sell this thing. So then it's on future motion to be able to market this directly to consumers instead. So that limits their channels of being able to sell these. The company has responded to this. They did issue a recall for all Onewheels in response to this.
Interesting.
But the recall is a firmware update. And basically from what I understand it does is it provides a set of, or basically it provides haptic feedback to the user in, I guess, sort of a rumbling or pulsing feeling when you're pushing against the limits of that pushback function. So before you push through it, it gives you a warning now. So that, and honestly, I think that's a pretty good response.
Yeah.
Because that way it still gives users the ability to ride these things, to take the responsibility and assume the risk, and balance that with the fun that they can have on these.
And as long as they're wearing their Giro helmet.
Giro helmet and pads
for that.
and other Fox gear that could keep them safe.
Exactly.
Obviously.
And all the Fox gear.
That's also something the company recommends is, to wear safety gear because this
Nice.
is, after all, a board sport, just like snowboarding, just like skateboarding. You can seriously hurt yourself, even surfing. You can kill yourself doing that.
Okay, we got it, Bagel.
But that doesn't make it illegal. That should still make it possible for people to do it. And, CPSC, back off.
And fix your own stuff.
Thank you very much, Bagel.
You're welcome.
I've got a couple real quick ones that I think are going to fascinate you. And this is transportation adjacent.
I'm already
So I'm gonna say,
fascinated.
hey, Emma, have you ever sold anything on eBay Motors?
Oui.
How did you post it? How did you post it?
What do you mean?
How did you post an item on eBay Motors?
You go to eBay Motors and you just post it
But
for sale.
you have to take a picture of it.
Yes.
With your phone?
Yes.
Well, so that's transportation, right? Adjacent. Well, did you know back in 1997, the first ever cell phone image was taken and transmitted
Cell phone
in Santa Cruz?
Cell phone image.
Well, it's funny you say that because Philippe Kahn, he was a guy who
It had to be
had a tech
Philippe.
company called Borland here, which he after Borland, his wife was in labor at the hospital, and he really wanted to be able to just take a picture of the baby and submit it, but there was no cell phone, so he went to Radio Shack and bought some stuff, solder and stuff, and he connected his computer to his cell phone, wrote some code, boom, sent the first ever cell phone image from here in
and
Santa
the
Cruz.
caption was, Aujourd'hui, c'est ma bébé.
So that's pretty cool right here in Santa Cruz. But did you know he then went on to start another company that created software and sensors that sense your heart rate, your body, everything. Basically, the Fitbit, right? Joggers wear the Fitbit watch, the
I wish I had a sensor
smartwatch,
to
all that
measure
stuff.
my level
that
of
was all
boredom
developed by him. It's used by different companies.
Fucking shot.
In fact, there are automotive industry is going to have some of these sensors in the cars to sense, your body, what's going and to communicate with the car. It's pretty fascinating how much this guy's code and ideas is, how many industries it's gone into. Another industry you'd be surprised that came out of Santa Cruz. And again, transportation adjacent, I'll make the connection. Did you know that CrossFit started in Santa Cruz?
Actually, I did know that.
Yes.
And do you know how that company got its name? Because when people say to me, Emma, you need to get fit, I get terribly cross. Because I like being fat.
Did you get it all out? You good? No, in fact, it was a...
Yeah, I got it all out. Thank you.
No, this is a husband and wife developed it.
Macmillan and wife, no doubt.
And back in 95, their first clients were the Santa Cruz Police Department, who was right on the other side of the fence from us right now.
Too many donuts up to that point.
Now, how is that transportation adjacent? What is one of the what's one of the tools that they use in this whole CrossFit?
Beating a tire.
Tractor tires.
Yeah.
Just transportation. CrossFit, which is now all over the world, but that came from Santa Cruz. So I want to show that. But we kind of been saving I think, the coolest as well as the most recent. And going back to, we were talking about Plantronics.
Oh, yeah.
Just over there on the west side. I didn't even know that they moved out. I had a lot of friends who worked there. I didn't know they were gone. And I was surprised when I drove by one day. I'm like, hey, I wonder if so-and-so's at work. And I saw Joby.
Yeah, Joby Aviation.
On the building. I went, wait a minute, what?
What's a Joby?
Now, Joby's been all over the news, at least here. Bagel, have you heard of Joby? Are you seeing it on the news up there too?
I don't really watch local news so much, but I've seen a few little things about it online.
Well, we're fortunate enough that one of us works at Joby.
I do.
You do, Scottie.
I do, yeah.
So tell everyone if they have not heard of Joby Aviation.
Yeah, this is pretty rad.
Yeah.
We are developing and manufacturing an electric vertical takeoff airplane that will be used for our own taxi service to help people get around, save time when they're going places.
So you're basically talking about an air Uber. Potentially.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. This is an air Uber. It's about the size of a small car, pilot plus 4 passengers.
Vertical takeoff airplane, so it's not a helicopter.
Correct, yeah. It can take off and land vertically, like you might have seen an Osprey or a variety of other aircraft. But then the rotors, the propellers tilt forwards, and it becomes a normal wing-borne aircraft.
Tilt rotor aircraft.
Have you seen these?
No, I see this all the time because
all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. In Marina, it's often flying around over my shop.
Yeah. And
Usually in the company of a couple of Bell Jet Rangers. It's seldom alone.
Do you wave your boobies at it?
Yeah, I always do.
Yeah.
So to describe it, it looks like a drone scaled up.
Looks like a drone carrying an egg in a giant scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's super cool.
Yeah, so they're right here in Santa Cruz and down near you.
Founded here in Santa Cruz, and we're building them around this
area. Now,
area.
is this the first flying taxi company? Because there's a couple.
There's a few others out there. This is unique in that we are developing these things with the intent to operate them entirely by ourselves. We're not planning to sell these things to anybody who wants to use them for whatever they want.
It's a complete company.
Yeah.
Now, are these unmanned?
The term we use is piloted. Yeah. No, there are pilots in these things right now. The ones that you've probably seen if you're down in the Marina area are remotely piloted.
Hence the company of helicopters. Because I'm sure the pilot's flying it by remote control in one of the chase helicopters.
No, the pilot's on the ground.
Oh, the pilot's on the ground.
But then recently there was a demo, and we've been doing more and more piloted things. So that you can get, if you're one of our pilots, you can get in the thing and fly it around.
All right, have you been up in one?
No.
Ooh.
Can't wait. Super excited.
So the whole concept here is rather than call a taxi or an Uber, you call a Joby who will show up, pick you up, and take you where you want.
And I mean, theoretically, for Bay Area traffic, it's an incredible solution because you know it's going to be expensive. However, when you get up to a certain place in a company, say you're the CEO or the CFO or something, and you absolutely... Well, do you think it's going to be cheap?
Well, the target, the price target has always been very widely talked about.
Right.
Is that the target price would be to match whatever a ride share would be.
So, for
Okay.
example, wait. So, if I was going to say I got to catch a flight out of San Francisco Airport, which is roughly an hour drive, and plus getting it out of the car and all that shit,
Yeah.
I could take a super shuttle or whatever, or I could take
those are still like $100.
I could take a service.
Well, this would
or,
be equivalent to, say, like an Uber.
yeah,
If
or
you got an Uber from here to SFO,
So
it'd be
a
like
couple of
150
hundred-
bucks,
Yeah.
which
200
people
bucks.
do, but
Yeah.
you don't fuck with traffic. You don't.
And it takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So this is not for the CEOs. This is for
Everyone.
everybody.
Yeah.
And
Oh, well, that's
this
cool.
is pretty. And so they will be unmanned at the time.
Piloted. They will be piloted.
They will be piloted from the ground.
No, from the pilot.
Okay, so
sitting
you'll
in
have
the
a pilot.
thing.
So
Yeah.
it'll be just an air taxi.
Yeah.
Because I asked because so many of these like unmanned,
Yeah, remotely
things
piloted or
are
unpiloted. Yeah.
well, just cars. Like they just got. Oh, that was.
Oh, there's a
scary.
cat.
oh, like
They
the
just got
Waymo
recalled.
fiasco?
Yeah, from San Francisco.
No, this is not that.
So they're not working, or Joby's not working on AI to drive these yet. No?
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah.
It's also not my
And-
job there, so
Right.
I don't know.
Interestingly enough, for those who've been listening to the podcast for many, many years, you will remember Misfit Isaac, who is currently working for Joby as well. It's
I
quite
didn't know
a
that.
player in the employment stakes in Marina, certainly.
Yeah,
I didn't know
our-
Isaac was working for
our
them.
little
Yeah,
village
Isaac
here.
Scholl
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
working for Joby.
I did not
I'll
know.
have to look them up.
Oh, so this is.
And you know Ian, don't you? English Ian.
Oh,
Ian
yeah.
Noble.
Yeah, Ian Noble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I work on his bike.
He's fabulous.
So this
Yeah,
is
he's a
like
good
been
egg.
getting a lot of funding and is happening. There's test flights being done.
Any day the weather's clear.
What is the projected date for civilians
I'm pretty sure it's still 2025. Wow. It's not
Wow,
far
that's
out.
close.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's close, isn't it?
That's really cool.
Can we get on a list?
I want to get on the list myself.
I want to
don't
get on the
know.
list.
Yeah.
I want to get on the list.
I tell you what, the most disconcerting thing about this machine is it's so quiet.
Yeah.
I was shown, I met Ian, I can't remember, what's he do? He's quite well up there, isn't he?
I don't know, but he's a really swell guy.
Yeah, so I met this English fella. He brought a Ducati down at to Motortown for me to work on. He's a fairly bigwig down at Joby. And he showed me a video of the founder talking in a normal voice. And the aircraft just took off behind him, about 10 feet behind him. And he was just talking in a normal voice. It's very, very quiet.
That
That's-
happened recently, too, at a
Yeah.
demo in New York City. They were doing a demo in some heliport there near Manhattan.
That's rotor technology that's come out of
Oh, yeah.
drones, right? The quiet.
We've been doing some cool stuff.
But I'm saying making them quiet, the drone technology and the rotors.
Well, drones
That's-
have like a really specific sound that I think we all can be annoyed by.
No, but they can make them silent. They've changed the rotors. To
We're
these
doing
weird
we're doing
shapes.
tricky things.
Yeah,
with
yeah, it's pretty
with
cool.
The Joby
So-
stuff. So they're doing a demo and somebody's talking, and the thing takes off behind them, and they're like, "Hang on, we can't hear it." And it's like, "Yeah, that's the point."
How many people does it seat?
4 plus the pilot.
Oh,
So we could all go to SFO together. And
So
yeah.
is the technology? I mean, an Osprey just dropped out of the sky, I think, last week again. Is the technology better than what we see on the Osprey?
Well, it's about 60 years newer.
No, the
I don't know
Osprey
how-
just came out 10, 15 years ago.
You're talking about the helicopter?
The helicopter, the vertical takeoff.
Well, I mean, the Osprey are a lot more reliable now. The Marines and Navy
one just
fly-
crashed like a week ago.
I know, but they fly them constantly.
And-
It's like, unfortunately, things
And without
crash
trying to
sometimes.
sound like I'm trying to throw the military under the bus, and I promise you I'm not, the threshold for safety in the military is set a lot lower than the threshold for safety for the FAA. So if the FAA actually give this thing a license,
then it probably is good.
it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Military, it's you're in the military, there's an element of risk involved.
Right.
And which is why you don't often see military aircraft being turned into airliners.
Yeah.
Things like C-130s.
Right.
Think, why wouldn't C-130 be an airliner? It'd be great.
In some places,
Big,
it is.
it's quiet, but you wouldn't want.
DC3 did, but yeah.
Well, I think the DC3 came before the military version.
Oh, interesting.
And I will say, top tip: I bought some stock in Joby, and it's been doing well, so I bought some.
Very
more.
good.
Well, thank you.
May want to check it out.
Mine went the other direction.
Joby.
Yeah, Joby.
Before we
Please buy some so mine go up.
Before we
Please help me buy
move
groceries.
away from Santa Cruz Innovative Transport Companies, just really as a postscript, I do want to mention Santa Cruz Metro.
I
because
forgot you had this one.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a connection because I worked for them kind of at the time, but they were a very, very early adopter of zero emissions. And when you actually drive transit and you say, look, we're going to make things zero emission, it's not the easiest thing to do, and they bought into it big time. If you actually go down their base, they've got this giant compressed natural gas tank, which they refuel the buses at about like 3,000 psi.
They're considered zero emission with natural gas?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't
know. No, they're completely zero emission. And if you look at a Santa Cruz Metro bus, it's got a hump on the roof
And it also has a banana slug on the side.
and a banana slug on the side because that's where the fuel is. The fuel's on the roof because, of course, it's lighter than air. So if you have a leak, it just vents up into
So
atmosphere.
they don't actually like put banana slugs in the tank.
No, but it's they really jumped in and took quite a few risks in order to provide zero emission transportation. And I'm not going to lie, not all of their buses are zero emission. You know, they've got a couple of hang-ons that are still running diesel, but they're very much considered backup buses. But it was not an easy transition by any stretch, and they really kind of went the distance. And I want to say they were one of the first in California. So
I think UCSC did a lot of that as well. They'd kind of taken the buses to the next level of
that's
environmentalism.
what she's referring to. Yeah.
Yeah. The Metro or UCSC?
no, the Metro.
Oh,
I was
okay.
talking about
yeah.
UCSC. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the two kind of work. You know, they're kind of siblings who don't really get along. I mean, a lot of retired Metro
like the
drivers.
Fox brothers?
Yeah, a lot of retired Metro drivers go and drive up for UC Santa Cruz because the pay's good and the hours are easy.
Not as quite as much vomit to clean out of the bus at the end of the shift.
Exactly. But
Unless it's Friday or
it's a
Saturday
lot
night.
of technology shared between the two. But there's very little love lost between me and Santa Cruz Metro. But fair dues. They were very early adopters, and they really went the distance with it. So,
Well, there you go. And I was just going to add one more thing to this list.
not one more thing, surely.
Oh, my.
One more thing. The number one motoculture podcast in the world, right here out of Santa Cruz.
Cleveland Moto. Oh no, sorry.
Isn't that cool though? When you really look at all the technology and all this stuff, all the way up to Joby Aviation, which is cutting edge right now,
Yeah.
going to change the world and
They're
hopefully
making it
take
happen.
cars off the road, make it safer for bikes. It all there's so much for decades that's been
Innovation.
happening here.
Yeah, it just happens in California.
My question is,
This little pocket, too. Yeah.
so here is this rinky-dink little seaside town in California. So does it breed innovation in that you become inspired when you live here, or do you think it attracts the kind of people who want to innovate?
I think it has a connection to Silicon Valley, kind of ancillary, that we get a lot of runover from
Right.
and connection there.
And you know
I
how
think
Silicon Valley actually started? It was the engineering department at Stanford.
Right.
That's why Silicon Valley exists, because of
Xerox,
Stanford U.
I think
University.
you can make a case that earlier on, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, Santa Cruz or these pockets of California were innovative in their own way. They were creating culture and creating lifestyle and creating things that were
Right.
new to the world.
Came from the hippies, man.
Yeah, I mean, fully, right? And,
make tea, not war, man.
but I don't, Jimbo Phillips would tell me stories about his dad, like spraying this hobo living in a van across the street with a garden hose and chasing him with, shears and stuff like that, right? So I think we all know things were a little different back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I think there was a lot more like raw innovation coming out of this area, whether it was Silicon Valley or whether it was cultural things here. But I think now, I don't know, because Santa Cruz, look how much a house cost here.
Well, back to motorsports,
I mean,
too.
Pleasure
I think
Point used to
that-
be a slum.
that connection, though, and our connection to Silicon Valley is pretty recent.
Yeah.
Unless you played Atari. Atari was invented in Sunnyvale.
It was.
There you go. Well, hey, free your mind and the rest will follow. So, yeah, I'm proud of Santa Cruz, but I mean, not just that it is some of the best riding in the world. We're very fortunate where we live. We have year-round riding, and just really a lot of really cool cultures that have come out of it, and all different alternative transportation. So there you go. I wanted to...
and the oldest wooden roller coaster on the West Coast.
There you go. Yeah, we didn't even get to the boardwalk.
And the best motorcycle co-op in the world.
There you go.
Well, not everyone agrees with you. In fact, we've got an email. It's a little bit controversial, and we're trying to be open-minded. But let's get to this. John, can you read that email you
So
have?
this is from Mike G.
Hey, Mike.
What's up,
Hey, Mike.
So, hello, motorcycles and misfits. I would like to touch base on a theme that is occasionally touched on in the podcast. How best does someone learn and how to work on bikes? Having visited the garage, I've observed a couple different styles. One is where the more skilled person jumps in, say, helping with a tire change, Emma, and the other is hands off, that the person will learn best if they figure it out for themselves. I'm asking you to consider that there are two learning opportunities at the garage. One is that of an unskilled or semi-skilled person riding a bike in with the hope of getting something done. The other learning opportunity is for you, M&M, on how to best to mentor, teach, helicopter, coach, assist, etc. I'm curious if there's history with riders having expectations about getting something done, and y'all are on the hook when it is sundown and there are tools and parts laying about. If not, great, yet asking if there's a pain point for you that influences your approach to interacting with the randomness of riders that show up on any given Sunday. Would you be open to reconsider how you approach these situations? Letting you know that from a visitor perspective, visiting on Sunday can also be intellectually overwhelming given all the things that's going on. I'm suggesting the hands-off approach may not be effective for you or them. Same with the hands-on approach, etc. For example, it's great to have the rider back on the road, but you are not compensated to do so. I'm asking if you could reevaluate your approach. Maybe identify your boundaries first, but switch it up a bit by taking a step back and explore approaches. The discipline of mentoring in particular has some subtle skill sets that are worth experimenting with. It doesn't mean that you do the work, but to evaluate if someone is set up to accomplish what is needed. Getting different people to commit to work together is sometimes the charm, even if it means pushing it out to another date. A larger perspective is that the M&M and the Recycle Garage are both wonderful and unique, and that other communities look at you as an example of what is possible. I only want to encourage you. Thank you for your time. Surfing Mike.
Now, you got more steamed up about this than I did, didn't you, Liza? You didn't.
I thought that was a lovely email. Very thoughtful.
So-
Thank you, Surfing
Was very
Mike.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
I'd like to address it, if I may, there's the train.
Christmas edition.
Yes, it is the
it's
Christmas
the Christmas
lights train. If you think that we just approach this with two basic techniques, we don't.
There's no technique at
And
all.
there
It's
is,
it's a crapshoot.
and that's largely
Unless you bring
true,
donuts, then you'll get some attention.
because when you introduce the human element into anything, there are no rules. I mean, everybody is completely different. Everybody has got wildly different skill sets. And I've found over the years that I've been down here, you can't just say somebody is not mechanical and mechanical. Somebody may not be capable of doing a tire change, but be very, very happy doing an oil change. And what I've found is the Recycle Garage has never pitched itself as a place where we will fix your bike. Now, sometimes we do, but that's largely out of circumstance rather than design. Every person knows that the Recycle Garage is somewhere where you're going to work on your own bike, and that is common knowledge. I will step in, as the only professional mechanic here, I will step in and help if you need it. But as you've observed many times, Jim, on a busy Sunday, I'm spreading myself pretty damn thin.
Well,
But it's part of the magic is that there's so many amateur mechanics around.
Right, and I mean, it's like corralling cats. But
Well,
the fact of the matter is, most everyone leaves with their bikes repaired. Nobody rides down the road and has a wheel fall off and kill themselves.
well, your fender did one time and almost killed you.
Right?
Not wearing a helmet.
Yes, or any safety gear, and hurting myself quite badly. But there's a lot more thought in how we treat people as an individual entity than that email would assume.
Well, I what I like about his emails, it's such a thoughtful approach, right? And it's just like, are there better ways, or maybe it's not always, a cook. Maybe you don't approach it the same way all the time. And I like that. But the thing about the garage, when you come down here, it's never the same one weekend from the next, and it's usually rather chaotic. So to approach it a certain way is when the day starts out. It's a noble thought, but it's like anything, that nothing survives first contact. As soon as we get into the day, next thing you know, someone's riding a mini bike around, donuts are flying around. It's like it gets a bit chaotic.
Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
And I wish we were kind of better at some sort of a format, but really I think it gets back to the person showing up is self-advocating for themselves.
Absolutely.
And getting dirty. And if you do those two things, it'll work out.
I mean, is he suggesting that we have a triage approach to it, where we?
No, I don't think so.
Let me listen. Where somebody comes in and we have a process to say, okay, what do you need done? How experienced are you? What kind of input do you want? And what assistance do you need?
We kind of do that anyway,
informally.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's suggesting we formalize that a little bit. So there's
Liza's got a hand up.
So I was a bit insulted by this at first.
Oh, I know you got all steamed up, didn't you?
My method is the let people fail to learn method.
Well, I think that can be a little cruel, Liza.
I let people choose the wrong tools sometimes. Because then once they're struggling and they don't have the leverage and they can't get, and then I'll say, all right, let's put an extension on this socket and a pipe on here. Now look how easy it is. Like, oh, now they've learned why that benefited. If you just hand them the tool, they don't know why you chose that tool. So I let people try tools and find out what works, what doesn't. That is my process, but I'm letting people forge their way. And if you just say, use this, do this. And a lot of times, people will say like, well, all right, okay, you need to get all the plastics off your bike.
What does that mean?
I was like, well, then get a YouTube video. Yeah. Watch. I don't know how to do most of these things.
Yeah, not to get in the weeds on the topic, but what you mentioned, people I've been talking to lately, whatever, it's like the first thing I ask, have you watched a YouTube video? And most people say no, but that's really where you start, right? I mean, but anyway, yeah.
But what I tend to do,
Yahoo one,
what I tend to do when things are very busy down at the garage is I'll double people up. So we'll get a complete novice come in.
Yeah.
And say, this is what I want to achieve. Yeah. Well, how much experience have you got working on your bike? Well, none. So, okay. So I know I'm busy and I can't be everywhere at once and I can't keep everyone safe much as I want to. So I'd say, John, this is John, this is, Uncle Tom Cobley, get yourselves acquainted and get on with the job. And then because there's two people and you check one another, and then I will dip in and have a look and just see how they're doing.
We should use the that kid who had the Ducati. Remember the young man from it was in the
Ducati
service?
Dave?
No, not Ducati Dave. But the young man who was from the service that had that long day. But his learning was trial by error and getting some tips and trial by error.
That is a perfect example because we were getting towards the very end of the day and he picks up a spacer for his rear wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see he was just crushed. And I'm like, back wheel's got to come out again, and you could just see him deflate. And I'm like, take a deep breath. We'll do it together. And we did it together.
I remember that day.
And it was bam. And he came back. He came back and saw me at the shop a couple of days later. Bike's running great. Yeah. Smooth. The tires are brilliant. Blah, blah, blah.
But that's like a hybrid approach, because that sinking feeling that I've gotten from putting a wheel in and realizing that I've gotten the spacers backwards or missing one or something like that. Right. It's instructive.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, it's part of, but what you actually have to consider is what the ultimate goal is. And my ultimate goal is not to turn everybody into a mechanic, because not everybody wants to be a mechanic. Mm-hmm. My goal is to get people so they're a little more independent at their bike, so that they're not paying me $150 an hour just to change oil or to change spark plugs. Very, very elementary jobs. Now, don't get me wrong. If I refuse to do that, it'd be the kiss of death from business, and I get plenty of work doing the simplest jobs as well as very, very complex jobs. That's the nature of business. But if you make the step to come down the recycle garage, and if I can give you the tools just to do basic maintenance on your bike to understand why the chain goes slack and how to address that, and even if you just put a fucking tire gauge on your tires every week, that's really setting you apart from a lot of people who do nothing to their bike and then come blubbering when it blows up.
The reality is, and Mike, thank you for, trying to create some creative criticism of how we might do better. I appreciate that. It was hard for me at first to be told, like, oh, you're doing it wrong. But the reality is, and he said in there, no one is being compensated. This isn't a job. This is nobody's responsibility. This is a community. And you're going to have different people on different days helping you. And different people have different ways to do what you're trying to do. And it's just community coming together. And yeah, you get to the end of the day, and if it's not done, we all descend. And there's been times there's 5 people putting it together, getting it done. We always seem to. Because that is how a community works. When you need the extra help, everyone descends.
And I want to make something quite clear. I do not send people down to my shop who come to Recycle Garage. It's always the other way.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll get people visit me at the shop, and I say, oh, and by the way, I'm part of this motorcycle collective in Santa Cruz, blah, 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 blah. If you can't afford to pay or whatever, you've got to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. So I bring people into the Recycle Garage, but I don't send people to Mototown.
And don't forget, Mike, it's motorcycles and misfits, not motorcycle and people have their shit together.
That's the truth.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree that when you first come, you know, it can be quite intimidating and it can be quite overwhelming because there is a lot going on. And we are misfits. I mean, there's some pretty large characters down here.
I had a great experience today at the shop on my task working on my SV650 wiring.
Different people were jumping in at different times, helping you with different
offering
things.
Fabulous advice. And like, oh yeah, don't worry about those 3 yellow wires. They're all the same. It's fine.
Yeah, I had no idea. I just took a guess, but yeah. No.
So you did your wiring harness today. That's right.
Yeah.
And the bike started.
And
it started.
Runner. And it's a charger as well.
Emma,
or a chunker.
we're running out of time. You have an email.
Yeah, it's a little long, so I'm going to get through it right quick.
But it's really good. Really good one.
Really, really good show.
Really?
This is from Les Moore.
Hey, Les Moore.
Less is more.
More or less.
Okay, so... Hi, Motorcycles and Misfits. I've sent this by the messaging system on your website as well.
Yes.
Just don't want you to have... I don't want you having too much déjà vu.
Oh, I wanted to clarify. There are sometimes people aren't sure which communication. You can send it to recyclemotorcyclegarage@gmail.com. You can send it to Motorcycles and Misfits. You can send it through the website. You can send it through Patreon. They all come to me. Sometimes people send it everywhere. I get all of them. So they all work.
Is that a two-pager?
It is indeed a two-page. We're going to get through it,
It's an
gents.
epistle.
I am a latecomer to your podcast, but have listened to the last 10 or so and now up to date.
Oh, and I wanted to clarify.
Welcome to the party.
You're reading it in the proper accent, too.
Not quite. I'm not quite Yorkshire's a bit here, like, I live on the east coast of Yorkshire in the UK in the sunny, currently snowy seaside town of Bridlington. I've gone through a number of bikes over the years, mostly playing at being a mechanic. It's kept me sane for the last 4 decades or so. I listen to your podcast when I'm wrenching in my back garden workshop. Anyway, to my story. The idea of having a leash on a child is such a good one. I also remember the times that Emma referred to when you kept your toddlers on a leash. We used to have so much common sense back then. My son Alex got an Italjet 50 for Christmas. Lucky lad.
Are those the ones that you see in front of grocery stores on the machine?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
And those were actually factory-built Italjets. They did motorbikes and they did static ones specifically for fairground rides.
Oh, how funny.
You'd often see child's merry-go-rounds with them, and a lot of them ended up outside grocery stores where you'd rock backwards and forwards, but nevertheless. So this must have been around 95 when he would have been around 2 or 3 years old. I had bought it at auction as an on-runner. With a bit of work and a smiley face drawn on the front, it was good to go. He had just started to be able to ride a two-wheel bicycle without stabilizers, although the empty car park he first had a go in only had my car in it, and he crashed into it at least 5 times. Should have learnt my lesson then. Anyway, we decided to take him to Southport Beach on the west coast of England. We lived in Manchester then, so my mum used to live in Southport. And Southport Beach is one of the nearest things we have to a desert. I agree with that. It has flat sands that stretch out to the sea for over a mile and must be 10 miles long. During the summer, it's used for parking for the tourists, and they even have air displays there. It's that big and flat. I mean, planes land on the beach in Southport.
Wow.
It's a very, very wide, long stretch. Anyway, we took him well away from where any cars were parked and got the Italjet out of the back of the car. You know how this is going to go, don't you? He was very excited and couldn't wait to have a go. I bet he was. He had previously used the throttle on a small Honda ATV with me scrunched on behind him. So he did have an idea of controlling an engine. Being sensible parents, you are not sensible parents, Les. We're going to get to this straight away. We did have a small helmet for him and some gloves. Yeah. Well, that's a good start.
Nicely done.
We kitted him out and I started the bike. He wanted to jump on straight away, but I realised I'd better give him a little instruction. So I held the rear of the bike up while he sat on it and practised with the throttle. It really didn't take him long to show us how well he could do it. Page 2. This is all building up to the big finale. The Italjet was a rev and go, so there was no clutch to be learned. With the bike ticking over and him sitting on it, he was ready to go. Now, I know you are thinking you know how this tale goes. You think he cracked the throttle wide open and shot off like a rocket and fell off. Well, that isn't the way it happened. He gently opened the throttle and the bike sets off. The problem was he just kept going in a straight line. I expected him to turn and ride around to us, but I hadn't actually said that to him. This is a bonehead move on your part, Les. He wasn't going very fast, and we could hear the whoops of delight coming from him. At this point, I realised the boy wasn't for turning. This is many years after Margaret Thatcher. Emma will like this. So I don't know where he got the idea from. In a panic, I set off running after him, shouting to brake, something I'd not got round to showing him. Oh, my God.
That's awesome.
Although I could keep pace with the bike at the speed he was riding, I couldn't actually catch up with it. He just kept going. And I just kept running, getting more and more out of breath and desperate.
This is like 10 miles long.
10 miles long.
A mile straight into the ocean.
I could see that he was heading towards the parking area of the beach, and I was starting to fear this wouldn't end well. He didn't make the bike go any faster. It was almost as if he was playing with me, keeping me just that far enough behind so he couldn't hear me, and I couldn't catch him.
That's brilliant. He's totally doing that on purpose.
I felt I had run a couple of miles, but in truth, it was probably less than half a mile. That's more than I could do. The sand was so smooth, there was nothing to make him deviate from the straight line he was following straight towards the parked cars. I got more and more desperate, but couldn't find the speed to catch him. Suddenly, the front wheel must have caught in a wheel track from where a car had been driven on the beach, twisting the front wheel and sending him spilling to the floor. Never have I been so relieved to see somebody fall off. It was the mildest outcome I could imagine. In my fear, I'd seen him squashed behind a car coming out of the car park or slamming into the side of a big and heavy SUV. When I got to him, he wasn't even crying. He was just keen to get going again. I bet he was.
My word.
On the ride back to our car, he sat on the bike with me standing on the foot pegs towering over him, controlling the bike. After a bit of telling off from my dearly beloved... I would love to have heard that conversation.
Yes, exactly.
I would love to know how to convince my wife to let this happen.
I gave him more instruction this time, including the concept of turning and using the brakes. Very sound plan there, Les. He had many happy hours with that bike before graduating to a KX60 with gears at the age of 6. and he even entered a couple of motocross events. He's still very interested in anything with an engine to this day. We have a YouTube channel called Spanner Rash.
Hey!
So that's capital
Rash.
Spanner Rash, capital S, PANNER, capital RASH, SH, forgive me, where he tends to do more car stuff these days, leaving all of the playing with bikes to me. Like you said, put a leash on your child, especially if you're letting them ride a motorbike for the first time. You know what would have been ideal? You know those telescopic things that dog owners have that you kind of press a button and it's boing, and then you could just push it and then pull the child
ratchet
off the
them back
bike.
in.
Yes. Anyway, take care. Love and hugs to you all. I hope you found this tale interesting. I found it hilarious.
Excellent. Thank you, Les.
Les Moore. And, the moral of this story is it will probably turn out all right. Probably.
Well, thank you very much for sending that in. I love it. Yeah, and put a leash on them. Yeah, that is definitely the top tip.
I was thinking, I was actually talking to my brother in the week, and I broached the subject of me talking about your little harness and my little harness. And he said, "Oh, do you remember anything about it?" And I said, "Yeah, I seem to remember it had little bunny rabbits on the front." And he said, "Yes." He said it was like pink, and it had little bunny rabbits on the front,
Nice.
and it had this big clasp on the back. And it was like a dog leash. And it was a harness. I couldn't get out of it, even if I tried. And my mum had had me actually on this leash because I was like everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
I seem to recall when I had mine, I was only like 2 years old. I think it was leather with studs and spikes. And I had this matching mask that I could put on, but I could barely see through the little...
With the zipper for the slits.
This is a Folsom Street Fair event.
Oh my gosh!
Is it branded Tom's?
You know what you just realized? No,
No, that was your time of conception, wasn't it?
Well, there you go. I think that brings it to an end. We got some motorcycles in there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're basically a motorcycle podcast.
We just wanted to. I just wanted to brag a bit about Santa Cruz.
Well, I think the cell phone picture thing got us started the other day at dinner. You brought that up, that the first cell phone picture
that's absolutely splendid.
Actually, no, it started with Joby, and I'm like, it's amazing how many different transportation things would come out of here. And when I really started looking into it and realizing there's so much more, and I'm really proud of where we live, even though it's not like a big metropolitan city. I mean, how many buildings over 3 stories?
Right. And we didn't even touch like Tracy Bodywork for bikes and stuff like that.
So much.
Yeah, there's so much that went on here back in the day. So, and still does.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that brings it to an end. We are fully into December now. I realized in a few weeks we're going to be coming up. I'm going to be leaving soon, going away to merry old England.
When are you leaving?
A few days before Christmas.
Well, that's fine.
But Christmas is a Sunday, so we're not going to record a podcast on Christmas. So we're going to take that week off while I'm gone.
Right, as we should. And I want to point out, so there's plenty of advance.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today, which is the 17th, I will be attending the Jameson Motorcycle Museum Christmas party.
Oh, so you won't be here?
I will not be here. I will be schmoozing it with the vintage motorcycle people.
I'm waiting for my invitation, apparently.
The following week, Jim, is the Talbot Museum Christmas party.
That's the good one.
Would you like to be my plus? Would you like to be my
I
plus
would
one?
love nothing more than to be your plus one.
In that case, you can come to the Talbot Motorcycle Museum Christmas party with me, which is, I believe, on the 22nd.
Oh, wonderful. Sorry for being bold, but...
Emma, and then the following Sunday, when we usually record, is New Year's Eve.
Yes.
John and I have committed to being here business as usual. You're going to join us?
Yeah, I think... there is no better way to ring in a new year than just boring our listeners mightily for 2 hours with us droning on about some shite.
And that means we'll open the garage too that day?
Yeah. Why not?
Jim, you're off the hook. You have a beloved.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see. We'll play.
I
I'm
have a
around.
couple of it too.
I'm around.
So
we'll
does
be
Emma.
here.
So,
Yeah, I know.
I
But
have
his
plans,
is-
so I will not be able to join you.
You won't be
Maybe
there
we get plans.
New Year's? Oh.
Not unfortunately, I will not be able to make it.
Okay.
What are you what are you doing so special, Bagel?
Raging.
I'm going up to Portland to see a show with another scooters.
Okay,
See the,
and drugs, sex.
rock and roll.
all those
all the fun
things.
stuff.
Scooter stuff.
Will there be other people involved? No.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Well, there you go. So, yeah, we're going to be. Oh, you have something?
Did you want me to mention the desert thing we're doing and kind of frame
Sure, go
that a
ahead.
little bit? So, Liza got some emails asking about this desert thing we're going to do
Johnson
at the end
Valley.
at the end of January, beginning of February. So, I just want a little more info, and I think we might put out more info on social media, whatever, just to make it clear. So, what we're talking about, they've got the Misfits Desert Hare, and it'll be the first annual, and it's not a rally really; it's a gathering. All I'm doing is inviting anyone that within earshot that wants to come down to Johnson Valley OHV, which is south of Barstow, for a few days of riding motorcycles in the desert and shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. Come on down. I think the only rule really is bring firewood, at least
And
a piece.
I think if you have a dirty bike, that'll probably help.
Yeah, it's desert riding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not-
you wouldn't
don't
want to
bring a
ride it on a
GS.
street bike.
Yeah, no street bikes. It's desert riding. So, be advised,
Did you
it's
say-
camping, it's BLM land.
I mean, they could bring it. If you bring a GS or something, you could ride those roads. But that's you won't
Yeah,
be
if
able to
you're
walk.
good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to, it's not a rally. We're not charging. It's nothing like that.
Bring your own food.
And this is Desert Hare, HAIR.
Yes, HARE actually.
Oh.
Desert hare, like the rabbit, like a jackrabbit. So anyway, we'll put more info, but just so everybody knows, it's not a rally. We're not charging. Just come on down. And it's also the same weekend of King of the Hammers, the off-road racing, if you're familiar with that. And where we camp is on the edge of the race course. So
So I think we'll likely send out a location with a point.
with a dot. Yeah, it worked
so-
well last time.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway, that was
if
that.
you're interested and want more info, and Jim, if it's okay, I'll just forward them to you.
That's
People
fine. Just forward
can
it to me.
email us at motorcyclesandmisfits. Oh, I messed it up. Motorcyclesandmisfits at gmail.com. There it is. And in fact, send all of your emails, your questions, your comments, your criticisms. Let's hear it. Send it to motorcyclesandmisfits at gmail.com. And you can go to our website, motorcyclesandmisfits.com, and you can find all sorts of stuff there too. I think we're ready to wrap up. Thanks, you guys, everyone, for all doing your research.
Oh, we've got to shout to Scott,
Yeah.
Oakland MC Scott, and his wife. There's still a
Yeah.
shopping bag of confectionaries sitting in front of me that I ate like half of during the podcast.
Wow.
So shout out to Scott
Yeah,
and bringing
thanks,
the
Scott.
goodies.
Yeah, and to whoever dropped off, there was a gear drop off this morning. I went out, and there was a bag of helmets and boots that just keeps coming in. So if you need gear, come see us. We've got it for you. I think we're ready to wrap up. Thank you, everyone here in this room, and especially to our listeners, and especially our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. You help keep the lights on here. So on that note, I think we're ready to get out. Thanks very much. This is Liza.
Stumpy John.
And my darling, Scottie.
Make a gym, son.
Bagel.
And we are out of here.
Cool.
Cool.